Today I am getting ready to plant tomatoes, and this is a really exciting time of year. Tomatoes are one of my favorite crops to grow. And as I plant them, I'm also going to be pairing with them some companions. Now, if you've been gardening, you've probably heard of companion planting before, but I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty about it. And before I do, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for more health and homesteading content. Let's dig in.
Mama?
Yeah. Oh, and he didn't bite you?
No.
Oh, good.
Happy.
Oh, those usually don't bite. So what you need to know about companion planting is there's no real proven science other than the fact that we've had our ancestors companion planting for thousands of years. So in my book, that data is solid. But there's also some interesting companion pairs that will ring true in the garden as everything grows to fruition. One of the most popular pairings for tomatoes are basil. Different types of basil, any basil will do. And basil is said to improve the flavor and yield of your tomatoes. Basils are fairly aromatic, so it would make sense that they could repel pests, but in general, I pair them together. I usually harvest them together for a caprese salad, and why not? If they can go together for flavor and yield, I'm all about it. Probably my favorite companion for tomatoes is the marigold, and this hasn't bloomed yet, but we're going to be planting them together. Marigold, specifically the Tagetes genus, has a natural nematicide that is going to attract nematodes, like your root knot nematodes, and kill them upon ingestion. Tomatoes are a huge magnet for root knot nematodes, and so marigolds of the Tagetes genus always get paired together with them. My next favorite pairing, and this is kind of like my secret sauce right here for repelling stink bugs, is the huckleberry. Huckleberry produces these beautiful black, dark purplish little berries that you can use to make a jam, and they are a magnet for stink bugs. I have seen a scary, freakish amount of stink bugs on my huckleberry planted next to my tomatoes, and not one on the tomato plants. Stink bugs are notorious suckers, so they're going to suck out juice from all of your yummy vegetables like tomatoes. And while that might seem harmless, it's going to give them an aesthetically unsatisfying appearance of spots, but also is going to transmit disease. So having a huckleberry near your tomatoes is going to greatly improve the health of your tomatoes. And what's interesting about this is that the huckleberries are seemingly not affected by the stink bugs. So it seems like they're just hanging around, breeding around this plant, and then not hanging around this one. The next companion plant for my tomatoes is going to be my row of garlic, and I'm going to grow these tomatoes along this side of my beautiful new trellis. Garlic has so many incredible properties in general, like it's antifungal. So if you've ever had a problem with anthracnose, those ugly black spots on your tomatoes, planting them with garlic is going to help with that. Garlic is also a great natural deterrent for smaller insects like whiteflies and aphids or spider mites. So I'm going to have my tomatoes in two different places, mixed in with different companions, and we're going to see at the end of this season which ones really thrive the best. Will it be because of the companions or some other variable that I'm not considering? We are planting tomatoes! This is one of my favorite tomato plants to grow in the vegetable garden. We usually grow different types of tomatoes, lots of paste tomatoes, because I love to put up cans and jars of sauce, crushed tomatoes, and tomato paste actually itself. And in order to get a good paste tomato, you want a paste variety like a Roma or an Amish paste. I'll grow a couple cherries, but usually no more than two, because I genuinely believe that all any family needs is one cherry tomato plant. Now, how I'm growing these tomatoes will be with some structural support, and I'm really excited about these new trellises that I've got built. And I'm actually going to be using two different types of trellising systems this year. It's kind of in between like a wattle / living trellis, but it's really its own unique design. So I do have a few tricks up my sleeve on planting tomatoes, and honestly, I always believe that it's these little things that you do in the beginning of the planting season that's going to get you to a zero maintenance summer. That I think is, I think I need to coin that. Zero maintenance garden girl is what I want to be. And it's all about just doing these little intentional additions when starting up your garden in spring. So come summertime, you don't want to be out in the heat. You just want to be harvesting and snacking and hanging. And that's what we're going to go for with these little tips and tricks. So the first thing you should know about tomatoes, and maybe you've seen this when tomatoes have grown in the past and you've grown them yourself, is that they will grow these little vestigial roots that look like these alien little tan fingers along the base of the stem. Those are vestigial roots reaching out to grab soil. So guess what you can do to extend your tomatoes' life into a hot summer, because tomatoes don't like heat, is you can plant them much deeper. And what I usually do is I like tomatoes that are about this big, because then I will chop those babies off along the bottom at the nodes, and they will grow vestigial roots coming from these nodes. I'm going to plant it up to here in the soil. So that's a pretty decent root ball that's going to be below soil, that's going to stay nice and cool and unaffected by summer heat. Ah, they smell so good. It brings back memories. It's like I can smell the tomato hornworm coming, you know, it's like so many memories with the scent of tomatoes. So now let's look at how we're actually going to plant them. So one's natural instincts might be to plant this thing right up against the trellis, but truth be told, these tomatoes are not going to need support until they're 1 to 2 feet tall. So I'm actually going to plant them in the middle of this bed, in between this line and the very edge. I've already mulched my beds to help keep weeds out. I'm going to preserve that mulch and just keep everything nice and tidy. And I'm going for right in the center of this bed, in between here and here. And that, I just do the simple art of digging. If you have a hugelkultur bed, you'll want to plant on the sides of the hugelkultur mound unless it is a very well-established hugelkultur bed. You should check out my video on hugelkultur because it really is an excellent way to get great soil fertility. Now, before I just throw this guy in, first of all, look how beautiful those roots are. We just up-potted these with soil blocking maybe a week to 2 weeks ago, and it already established these beautiful roots. But it's not root bound, it's just perfect. I'm going to go ahead and set it in. Now what I'm doing here is I'm first looking at the face. Every plant has a face, and I want to make sure that it's nice and straight, that it's, you know, kind of growing in the right direction. And I want to make sure that it's deep enough, because when I cover this up, I want it to go just above where I cut at those nodes. And look at this worm. I mean, this is just to give you an idea of just like the soil fertility here. Go ahead and throw you in there. So I'm going to go ahead and backfill. This looks good. But if you need to dig more, dig more. And I'm not pushing down, but I am going to kind of get it nice and tampered down. And also, look what I found. An army worm. Army worms are caterpillars technically, and they love tomatoes. So I'm going to be saving this guy for the chickens. They'll be really happy about it. If you put it in a plant cup like this, it might slip away, but I'll put him in here for now and keep an eye on him that he does not escape, because he will eat your tender young seedlings, which is why you always want extra. This looks perfect though. I've got pretty much everything covered. I'm going to mulch around the base. And so now this tomato is going to go straight up, and basically as soon as it hits this beautiful V, that's when I'm going to start actually connecting it and giving it some support. Now the final touch, of course, to planting your plant babies is watering them. And it's not a big deal if you hit them from above, but I want to be a little bit more gentle and sensitive to them. And I'm gonna go right around the base, all sides, after the mulch is covered. And, oh, yeah, there you go. That's happiness right there. That's happiness. So I'm gonna count 3 Mississippi and water all around the base. It's not a big deal to hit the plant with the water, but first of all, know your water. Before in New Orleans, I had city water with all kinds of nasty chemicals in it, including chlorine that could potentially harm this plant. And I had a dechlorinator attachment that I used. This is well water, it's great stuff. It's coming from the creek, but still, I want to keep my leaves as dry as possible to prevent the spread of fungal infection, and I'm watering around the base. Now I've got a bunch more tomatoes to plant, and I really hope you enjoyed this video and you're excited to plant your tomatoes this year knowing these extra little tips and seeing how it helps your plants grow. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for more health and homesteading content.